Welcome back to Fight Weekly, where weekly we break down the upcoming card and analyze the fighters you'll see this weekend. We finally got the middleweight contender matchup to potentially set up the next title fight. We go to Paris, France, and the main card starts at 3 p.m. We have Nassourdine Imavov versus Caio Borralho in the main event, and Benoît Denis versus Maurício Ruffy as the co-main event. That's two French versus Brazil matchups, and not to mention both the Brazilian fighters are from the same Fighting Nerds MMA gym. Please like the video if you enjoy this content and subscribe for more weekly fight breakdowns. Now let's dive into this week's matchup, starting with our main event. Nassourdine Imavov is the number 2 ranked middleweight taking on the number 7 ranked Caio Borralho. Nassourdine is a few years younger, but neither fighter is too young or too old in this matchup. They're both on great win streaks, so this is a top contender fight that may decide the next middleweight title shot. Imavov is the slight underdog in this fight with the live odds at plus 108 and Caio Borralho the slight favorite at minus 138. Both fighters have similar player builds, so let's look at their recent form and see what their ride to this point has looked like. Nassourdine Imavov has had 4 fights since 2024. It starts with his first fight against Roman Dolidze in a 5-round fight. He outperformed Dolidze by 4 times on the significant strikes, and the fight went to the judges, but we end with very different scorecards. One judge giving it a 47-47 tie, and another giving it 49-44 for Imavov. Next, he fights Jared Cannonier, where he gets a suspect TKO victory. He was beating Cannonier, that's for sure, but this was one of the worst stoppages of 2024. And looking at the ending sequence, it's not even a knockout, and Cannonier never seemed in real danger aside from running away from his opponent. Regardless, Imavov gets the victory here and a TKO on the record. And then he fights Brendan Allen and gets a unanimous decision 29-28 on all scorecards. He edged out the stats on the significant strikes, and both fighters got over 5 minutes of control time, but it was a unanimously seen victory for Imavov, and he moves on. And in his latest fight, he fought a 36-year-old Israel Adesanya who is coming off of 2 back-to-back losses to DDP and Sean Strickland. Imavov found Izzy's chin in the second round and was relentless with the pressure in the ground and pound, slamming Izzy into the cage and finishing the fight with a TKO. And it's off that win that he's coming in to fight Caio Borralho this weekend. Caio's only had 2 fights since 2024. The first was against Paul Craig, where Caio beat Craig by KO in the second round. Borralho found the chin and stunned Paul Craig and threw precision strikes that knocked Craig out. And in his latest fight, he fought Jared Cannonier in a 5-round decision. Caio landed almost double the significant strikes as Cannonier and won a 10-8 round in round 5 on all scorecards. A very good round 5 where Caio should have easily earned a TKO victory, but the ref let the fight go on unnecessarily. And they face off as the rising talent in the middleweight division, fighting for the opportunity for a championship fight next. Who do you think wins this fight? Let me know your predictions in the comments below. And in our co-main event, we have Benoît Denis against Maurício Ruffy, another French versus Brazil matchup, and these guys are also great fighters with great records, and both still very young at 29 years old each. Ruffy has a nice win streak he's built up, and the odds are reflecting that he's a stronger fighter. Ruffy is the minus 205 favorite, and Denis is the plus 158 underdog. They match each other in height and reach. It's comparable, so let's look at their last fights and see what they've done coming into this weekend. Let's look at Benoît Denis. He's had 3 fights since 2024, starting with his fight against Dustin Poirier, where Poirier showed us that he found the fountain of youth. He boxed Benoît Denis' head off. There was a clear striking difference, and Dustin found the TKO win in the second round after dropping BSD twice and finding the finish. Then he fought Renato Easy Money Moicano, where Moicano put a round 1 beatdown on BSD, had full mount position on him, and raining terrible elbows down on him by the end of the round. It led to a doctor stoppage in between rounds due to the damage on BSD's face and eyes. And his latest fight was against Kyle Prepolek, a newly signed UFC fighter who took the fight on a week's notice. Denis was minus 1500 favorite in this fight, so take it for what you will, but he did what he was supposed to do and went out there and got the finish. BSD peels Prepolek off the fence after an easy takedown. He's able to wiggle his way into an arm triangle and find the round 2 submission win. And facing off against him this weekend is Fighting Nerds Maurício Ruffy. Ruffy has had 3 fights since 2024, starting with his first UFC fight, and it was against Jamie Mullarkey. Ruffy lived up to his hype and brings some violent and creative striking to find the finish. A flying switch knee hurt Mullarkey, and he crumbles soon after, and Ruffy gets a round 1 TKO victory. Then he fights James Lantop, where Ruffy performs much worse in the striking output according to the statistics. However, looking at the clips, you see that Ruffy was landing the more damaging shots, scoring knockdowns, and having the better result in the striking game, even though you wouldn't be able to tell from the numbers. He wins himself a 29-28 unanimous decision here. And in his latest fight, he took on Bobby King Green, and in amazing fashion, a spinning wheel kick in round 1 grazes the temple of Green and flatlines him. A crazy KO win for Ruffy. And he's coming off that win to face BSD. Both are young and impressive fighters in the lightweight division trying to climb their way up the rankings. Does BSD have what it takes to come back from his past losses, or will Ruffy add another finish to his list? And with that, we wrap up our Fight Weekly for UFC Fight Night Paris, Imavov versus Borralho. Drop a like if you enjoyed this content. Check out the Instagram and TikTok for short form content. And don't forget to subscribe to get more weekly fight breakdowns from Fight Weekly. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's enjoy the fights.